Hey, good morning, students. Last time we have studied the temperature based sensors and the operation principles of those sensors and various definitions and examples of those sensors. Now, today, let's go for the pressure based sensors, that is, classification of a sensors based on the pressure physical quantity. And we know that pressure sensors are act as a transducer. And what do you mean by transducer? Transducer is a device which converts a one form of energy into another form of energy. This is called as a transducer. So pressure sensor is a transducer, and the various examples of the pressure sensors are Bourdon tube, manometer, diaphragm. And the operating principles of this pressure sensor is Bourdon tube pressure sensing device is a closed coil tube connected to a chamber or a pipe in which pressure is to be sensed. And as the gauge pressure increases, the tube will tend to uncoil, while a reduced gauge pressure will cause the tube to coil more tightly. This is the operating principle of the Bourdon tube. Now let's go for the manometer, and I'm sure manometer you have used in the labs, so you are quite aware with the operating principle of the manometer. And this manometer works based on the principle of hydrostatic equilibrium and is used for measuring the pressure. Generally it measures the static pressure, not the dynamic pressure, because the water in the bottle or in the pipe is a static, is not moving. So therefore it measures the static pressure exerted by the still liquid. Still liquid, that means a steady liquid or a gas. Hydrostatic equilibrium states that the pressure at any point in a fluid at rest is equal and its value is just the weight of the overlying fluid. This is the operating principle or operation principle of the manometer. And the third example of the pressure sensor is a diaphragm. And this diaphragm works on the principle of air displacement. The membrane is mechanically pushed and pulled in and out of a pumping chamber. When the diaphragm is extended, then the slurry or whatever is being pumped is sucked into the diaphragm chamber through the intake line. This is the operation principle of the diaphragm. Next pressure sensor is a Pirani gauge. This Pirani gauge, thermocouple gauge and ionization gauge are important gauges as far as your competitive exams are concerned. So the operating principle of the Pirani gauge is Pirani gauge measures the vacuum pressure, and what is meant by vacuum and all that we are going to study in some next modules. So you will come to know in more details about the Pirani gauge, its diagram, working principle and all. Here is just a brief discussion about the Pirani gauge and just an operating principle of the Pirani gauge. So Pirani gauge measures the vacuum pressure dependent thermal conductivity. That means thermal conductivity which depends upon the vacuum, that measured by Pirani gauge from the heated wire to the surrounding gas. The heated Pirani sensor filament is typically made of a thin, less than 25 micrometer, tungsten, nickel or platinum wire. A gas molecule collides with the filament wire, then heat is transported from the hot wire. So this is an operating principle of the Pirani gauge. The next example of the pressure sensor is the ionization gauge, and this ionization gauge works by ionizing the gas molecules within the gauge volume. The ions are then collected on a thin wire called the collector. The current formed is proportional to the pressure, and it measures very low pressure from 10 raised to minus 3 to 10 to the power minus 13 atmospheric pressure. So this range is important. Ionization gauge measures the low pressure from the range 10 to the power minus 3 to 10 to the power minus 13 atmosphere. Got it? So let's go for the next example of the pressure gauge is a thermocouple gauge, and we know that this thermocouple gauge also you have used in the labs. So thermocouple gauge is working on the principle of thermal conductivity, wherein the metal strip is heated by passing a current through it, and its temperature is measured by a thermocouple. The temperature measured depends on thermal conductivity of the gas in the tube and hence on its pressure. So let's go for the next one. So next kind of a gauge is based on force or torque, and the working principle of the gauges which are based on this physical quantity like force and torque is it responds to a applied forces. As much force as you are applying, it responds fast, as well as converts that applied force into a measurable value. This is the working principle of all of the below gauges. So let's take the first example, strain gauge. This strain gauge works on the principle of electrical conductance and its dependence on the conductor's geometry. And whenever a conductor is stretched within the limit of its elasticity, it doesn't break up, but it's narrower and longer. That means it becomes a long and narrow. Fine. It becomes thin and longer. Got it? Next kind of gauge is a load cell column type cantilever beam, and this kind of force gauge or torque gauge converts a force, compression or a pressure or a torque into an electrical signal that can be measured and standardized. As the force applied to the load cell increases, then the electrical signal changes. The next some kind of examples I have noted here. You can find out the operation principles of these. You will get anywhere. The pneumatic load cell, capacitive load cell and hydraulic load cell are the next three examples of force torque kind of a gauge. You can find out the operating principles of these three. Now next kind of a gauge is a speed sensor, and this speed sensor is the sensor which are used to detect the speed of an object, usually a transport vehicle, and the example of a speed sensor is a tachometer. Generally these kind of a tachometers are you can see in the vehicles. And next is a light sensor. The light sensor is a passive device. What are the active devices and passive devices that we have studied last time? So light sensor is a passive device that converts the light. That light may be a infrared light or a visible light, and that light is converted into an electrical signal. These are commonly known as photoelectric or photosensors because it is converting a light. Light is nothing but a photo. That's why it is called as photosensors. The next kind of sensors is a humidity sensors, which sense a humidity in the environment, are called as humidity sensors. And these humidity sensors are the electric devices which measures the humidity in the environment and converts its findings into a corresponding electrical signals. And the examples of the humidity sensors are the capacity humidity sensor, resistive humidity sensors are the example. Next type is a gas sensor, and these kind of sensors are used to detect an inflammable gas like carbon monoxide and methane. Next is a mechanical sensor. This mechanical sensor is detects a mechanical deformation and converts into a electrical signal. Now, what is mechanical deformation? Suppose you are applying some large pressure on an object, and because of the large applied pressure or large applied force on an object, that object is deformed, is not in its original shape, its shape becomes disturbed. That is called as a deformation. But how to measure that deformation? And to measure those deformations, we need the sensors. Those sensors are called as mechanical sensors, and the major part of this mechanical sensor is this sensor detects the mechanical deformations as well as converts that into electrical signals. The examples of these mechanical sensors is a piezoelectric sensor, touch sensor. Now, what is this piezoelectric sensor? We know that piezoelectric sensors are the sensors which, if you apply some pressure on these kind of sensors or an electrical voltage on it, then these sensors sense the pressure applied on its faces and converts that into electrical current or in voltage. And in this way, the piezoelectric sensors detects the mechanical deformation. As soon as you apply the external pressure on its faces, the piezoelectric sensor sense how much pressure is applied on it and converts that applied force or a pressure into the electrical voltage. That is called as a piezoelectric sensors or touch sensors. This mechanical deformation can occur due to variety of stimuli. This kind of sensors are used in biometric applications nowadays. Next kind of a sensor is a electric sensor, and this electric sensor is a device, and this is made up of using generally ICs, integrated circuits, that detects the specific physical parameter and converts into electrical signal. This is called as electrical signals, and the output of an electrical signal is processed and used to provide the an output signal of the electrical sensor is processed and used to provide the measurement. And the example of this electrical signal is, it includes the environmental sensors for temperature and humidity measurement, and biosensors such as core temperature measurement or heartbeat rate measurement. So this is the electric kind of signals. Next type of sensor is a radiant sensor, and this radiant sensor is a radiant temperature sensors provide non-contact and remote measurement of a radiant temperature wherever you cannot reach, but you can measure the temperature from windows and walls. This is called as a radiant sensors, and the example of this radiant sensor is an optical pyrometer. Next kind of a sensor is a chemical sensor, and this chemical sensor is a device that transforms the chemical information or ranging from the concentration of the specific sample component to the total composition analysis into an analytical useful signal. And the example of the chemical sensor is an optical sensor, electrochemical sensor, mass sensor, and magnetic sensors. These kind of sensors are generally used in chemical factories wherever a human being cannot do the activities. The chemical sensors are used. Next type of sensor is a magnetic sensor, a transducer that converts a magnetic field into a electrical signal is called as a magnetic sensor. The name of the sensor itself gives you idea, which must convert a magnetic field into the electrical signal. All signal must be converted into electrical signal. Then and only then the measurable measurement is possible. Otherwise, it becomes difficult. So the example of this magnetic sensor is a Hall sensor, semiconducting magnetoresistor sensor, flux gate sensor. These are just the types, you can just remember the names. And the next is a superconducting quantum interface device. It is called as a SQUID, resonant sensor, induction magnetometer, etc. All these are the examples of magnetic sensor. And this is the end of the chapter or the first module. Hope you have understood this module. I will request you go through all these videos, watch it carefully again and again, and work out the notes. Otherwise, just by watching the videos will not give you any fruit, or this will not be a fruitful for you. And this is the assignment for you, last one. And these are the 3 important questions based on the first module. The first question for the assignment is, describe the various type of errors in brief. Second question of your assignment is, write a short note on time and frequency domain analysis, which we have studied. And the third question of your assignment is, write a short note on periodic and random signals. One more thing I would like to suggest you, just download the question papers from the university website and have those question papers with you, so that for next some modules you should have questions with you, and we'll go by the syllabus and we'll try to cover next some modules. So next time I will start the next module. One more important thing is that you should complete this assignment and submit me on either on Google Classroom, or you can mail me. Just write the assignment, take a photo by using CamScan, and mail me your assignments within next 2-3 days. Thank you.